Welcome to the course Writing Academic Papers in English Language Journals. The first video we have is the introduction to the course. This video presentation has been written by and is presented by myself, Ajahn Roy, of the Naresuan University Graduate School. The first question we need to answer is, why do we need to publish? Well, first, it's been said that if you have not published your research, then it is not research. It is a hobby or a pastime. Academic staff seeking a career and advancement in that career must publish their research to gain tenure and promotion. The publish or perish situation. Academics who seek recognition of their professional standing and achievement must publish. And of course, graduate students must publish a paper about their research to gain credit for their degree. It is the first published researcher who is attributed with a new discovery. A good example of this is Charles Darwin, who was the first to publish on the theory of evolution in his book On the Origin of Species. But another scientist, Alfred Russel Wallace, developed the same theory even before Darwin, but did not publish it. Darwin did, and his name is almost always the one associated with the theory of evolution. Who is Alfred Russel Wallace? Nobody, because he didn't publish. So gaining recognition requires research that achieves a contribution to new knowledge or of new knowledge to the body of knowledge, or is a new or novel analysis or interpretation of existing knowledge. The key words here are new knowledge, novel, original, unique. So when you undertake experimental research, there's little or no point in just doing what has already been done before. To check that this is not the case, you'll always need a thorough review of the existing published literature. So when you do your literature review, it must be thorough. When you publish, there will certainly be reviewers who are expert in the field and will be immediately aware if your literature review is not thorough and comprehensive. A thorough literature review also ensures that your work is unique. Let me give you an example. A medical science PhD student had her paper rejected, with one reviewer citing 4 previous papers as evidence that the student's work was not new or unique. The student had not seen these papers in her literature review. I recommended a detailed analysis of the methods and materials used in those 4 papers. This close, rigorous analysis showed that there were sufficient differences in her methods and materials to suggest her work was in fact new and unique. The student revised the paper, clearly discussing the differences between her work and the work reported in the 4 papers. Her work was accepted for publication without further comments from the reviewers. The moral of this story is, do not be discouraged by reviewers' negative comments. Learn from them. Take notice of the reviewers' comments. They are experts and their comments can be very informative. But do not be afraid to debate the reviewers' comments. It is not unusual for a reviewer to disagree with you on more personal or political grounds. As personal experience, my first attempt at publishing was rejected as being worthless. I sought advice, made some changes, and it was published. If we look at some of the scientific journals, the IOP journals, for example, advice from the science publisher in the area of physics, what we look for in your article, we consider for publication in Institute of Physics journal articles which are original, novel, and add significantly to research already published. Your paper is of interest to the community. You have a sound motivation and purpose in your research. Your research has not been published previously and is not under consideration for publication in any other journal or book available through a library or by purchase. They offer a little advice. Do not present new but trivial and obvious results. Do not make unsubstantiated conclusions. Do not hide your new results under a lot of references to other research. Stick to your narrative about your research and results. Articles based on theses or dissertations for higher degrees may be submitted, but in the form of a research paper, which is more concise than is appropriate for a thesis. Reports that are not available to the general public are not regarded by IOP as prior publications. Articles presented at conferences may also be submitted, provided these articles do not appear in substantially the same form in a published conference proceedings. As an example of this, I show you two papers that I have published. The top one, Agile and Agility in Computer System Development Education, was the conference paper presented at the 7th International Conference on the Internet. I was invited then to present this paper, or to prepare this paper, and submit it for publication in the journal. And I published it under a different heading, Pedagogical Agility and Agile Methodologies in Computer System Development Education. The paper was significantly larger, with a lot more information than the conference proceedings. The SIAM journals, Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics. Their advice is, in general, only original papers will be considered. The author must guarantee that the manuscript has not been published or submitted simultaneously for publication elsewhere. Papers previously presented in conference proceedings of limited circulation may be submitted in revised form. So how should you choose a journal? Well, the best journals are always from good societies and good publishers. So one can always prefer IEEE, ACM, Springer, Elsevier, etc. The journals which are indexed by Science Citation Index is the most trusted one. Beginners can even go for conference proceedings indexed in Scopus. SCI, what's this, the SkyMago Journal Rank, SJR indicator, is a measure of scientific influence of scholarly journals that accounts for both the number of citations received by a journal and the importance or prestige of the journals where such citations come from. The larger version, the Science Citation Index Expanded, covers more than 8,500 notable and significant journals across 150 disciplines from 1900 to the present time. These are alternatively described as the world's leading journals of science and technology because of a rigorous selection process. Some general advice on journal writing. The University of Southern California says that academic writing is formal and logical. It must be cohesive and possess a logically organized flow of ideas. Cohesive means that every word you write must contribute to the focus of the paper. There must be narrative links between sentences and paragraphs so the reader can easily follow your discussion and sequence of activities. You must very carefully plan the flow of discussion in your paper. The tone of the paper, this refers to the attitude conveyed in a piece of writing. Some publications, or scientific publications, should be objective, based on the evidence, and free of personal bias. It is important to be fair and balanced in your criticism of other researchers' work. No loaded language, no attempts at irony or sarcasm. But you are entitled to attempt to refute other researchers' work. Your paper or your research must be thesis-driven. This means that you have a clear starting point, a clear description of the particular perspective, idea or position taken in your chosen research problem. This means that you must include a clear research question that you will answer or an hypothesis that you will investigate and prove or disprove. This all starts with your title. Is elaborated in your abstract, argued and discussed and described in the body of your paper, and clearly summed up and summarised in your conclusions. I call this the focus stream. You must have evidence-based arguments for experimental, quantitative research-based papers, or experiential and opinion-based papers. You must show an authoritative, evidence-based approach to your writing. Argumentation, expression of opinion, disagreement with others, you must present your discussion in an objective way. Complex and high-level thinking. Your publication is not a secondary school exercise. It requires that you demonstrate an understanding of the complex issues in your field of study. You must demonstrate higher-order thinking skills, critical thinking, reflective, logical, creative problem solving. Further discussion in this course on writing academic papers in English language journals will follow this theme of the stream of focus. We will talk about the title, the abstract and keywords, the introduction section to your paper, research question and hypothesis, method and materials, the conclusion, and the literature review, referencing, citations, and paraphrasing. There will be videos produced for each of these aspects. You should also study the academic writing in English course, which is more related to the specifics of writing topics such as verbs and using correct verb tenses, nouns and articles, paragraph structures, correct sentence structures, adjectives, adverbs and correct phrasing, and academic vocabulary. So thank you for viewing this video. You can now download the PowerPoint slides for further study. And now you can go to view the video on writing the title. Thank you very much.